Hello from Los Angeles, everyone. I'm your host, Gia Nurtas. You're watching TRT2. Welcome to the world of cinema. Today, our guest is Alain Washnevsky. Hi, Alain.
Hi, hello Gia. Thank you for having me.
Really happy to see you today here.
Salam Türk arkadaşlarım. Nasılsınız? Los Angeles'den sevgiler.
Oh, wow, wonderful. Alain, you have a great career and you're so multi-talented. You sing, you act. What else do you do?
I live.
Oh, yes, of course you do. And you're one of the happiest people I know.
Thank you.
For sure.
Thank you.
How exactly did you get into acting? I know there's a story there.
Yes. So I have this memory that goes back to the age of 6. And I used to have that image of me being in Hollywood on the red carpet, starting from the age of 6. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but that image just has literally burned itself into my memory and into my soul. And, you know, I just didn't grow up in an environment that necessarily supported going that path.
Where did you grow up, by the way?
I grew up in Austria, in Vienna. I grew up in Vienna, Austria, which is such a city full of culture. But it was just acting was never really in front of me or something. And I went a complete different path, and I was in business. I was in real estate business at a company, at a partner. We were doing well. And I had that thing that society labels as success. Like, you have a car, you have an apartment, you have money, whatever that is. But something was just missing. And the way I like to describe it is like there was this scream looking for a mouth. Mm-hmm. And I was 33 when I had reached a point in my life where I just couldn't deny that voice anymore. And it was pretty miserable. It was miserable, I was overweight, and I was living a very, in many ways unhealthy lifestyle. And that's when I had that shift, and I found art as a solution for that. And I was crazy enough and out of my mind, as I like to say sometimes, to do it, to risk it. And I left Austria, I left my family, my friends, and my business, and moved to Los Angeles.
Yeah, sometimes that's what it takes, to leave what's familiar and what's comfortable behind. Yeah. And to step into that like really scary territory. Yeah. But you've done really well. We'll get to your career right now. But before we do that, I wanted to ask you, don't you have a little bit of Turkish blood in you?
I do, yeah, I do. So my father's grandmother, she was Turkish, from Istanbul. And my father, he was born in Tabriz, which is a city in northern Iran, which is really close to the Turkish border. And so growing up, that's what I heard. I heard my grandmother, my father and his siblings, they were all speaking Turkish. I think they call it Azeri Turkish. Mm-hmm. It's very similar as far as I understand. And growing up in Austria, there's a very big Turkish population. And I had a lot of Turkish friends growing up. And I used to go to their house and I was familiar with the family and their culture. And there's a lot of Turkish restaurants in Vienna and Turkish food, and I've been to Turkey many times, and so yeah, I'm familiar with that culture, and I really appreciate it. Yeah.
So in your career, in actually a relatively short period of time since you've moved to Los Angeles, you have already done so much. I'm really proud of you, actually.
Thank you.
When I saw you in these huge shows like Scandal, like NCIS, and all the other ones, and you can help me with, because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
In 2016, you worked on, you actually released a short film, correct? That was shortlisted for Oscars?
That's how I started, actually. I started doing short films. I did a lot of short films. People ask me sometimes, well, how did you get your reel? Or how did you get an agent? And I said, I started doing short films. I probably did 30 short films in the first 3 years. And most of them, they don't pay. And most of them are really bad. But I learned a lot. And one of them was that a dear friend of mine directed and wrote and was a short film that was an AFI film, and I got to be in that. And Then in 2000, then we won all kinds of awards. And in 2016, we were actually nominated. We were in shortlisted. We were nominated.
Oh my God, that's
for
amazing.
the Academy Awards for Best Live Action Short. And
what's the title?
It's called Day One.
This is my first job.
So when you act, you obviously have to become someone else. You have to live, feel, and perceive things through a different person's sets of feelings. Correct? What about that process is so intriguing to you?
Again, what I like about acting, it takes all the other art forms and it puts it together. Because if I like to sing, if I like to write, if I like to, whatever I like to do, sometimes you portray a singer, sometimes you portray a doctor, sometimes you portray a lawyer, you portray a writer. So it gives you the chance to literally do everything that people do on this planet and live that lives. And I think also ever since I was a little child, I just love to tell stories.
You think it's that, or is there like a slightly therapy aspect to it?
It is.
Right.
I think a part of it, to be honest, comes from an unhealthy place, which is I like the attention. I like people giving me attention. I like that. So, I love telling stories from an early age on, and I think it's a combination of different things that made me then follow acting, and one is certainly coming from maybe a little bit of an unhealthy place, a lack, which is I just like the attention, and I understand that. I'm very much aware of that, and then there's the other part is that I like to tell stories. And I think, art, I heard this beautiful quote, a doctor might be able to save your life, but he cannot give you a reason to live. Art does. And I really resonate with that. I think art is such a gift to humanity. It can really make a difference. It builds bridges, it educates, and we can learn about, if you want to learn something about a different culture, watch their music. Watch their films, listen to their music, eat their food, learn the language, read their books. I mean, art is it just unites us, and you can make a difference. And sometimes through my art, I can put a smile on someone's face and I make a difference in that moment, or I can change someone's day or a generation or a nation or a society. I mean, that's not my responsibility as the artist, the effect I have. I have to just be genuinely experience life, digest it through my own unique way, and then add it to the stream of life, and then just let it go.
Alain, what's your first language?
What do you mean? The first language I learned, or the language I'm most fluent in?
Okay, most fluent in?
German.
Okay, and then your native tongue, right?
And then it's Farsi, yes.
Yes. So, and then it's English.
And then at this point is English, yeah.
You, as an immigrant, came in here making a career in the most difficult industry.
Yeah.
Speaking third language.
Yeah.
This is really special and inspiring.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are facing that actual very simple issues coming in here, like, accents.
Yeah.
So what I really like about what you said, why acting, your answer is when you said, yeah, I love attention.
Yeah.
Which means you really accept everything that is you. And I think maybe that's your secret ingredient, to be honest with you, because instead of looking at for example, the language as a simple thing to say, oh, look, I can't speak this language fluently enough, I'm just gonna not do it. You didn't give that excuse to yourself.
Yeah.
So where did that courage, where did that strength come from? Must be family.
Yeah. You know, I mean, you hit all the, you hit so many spots in me, and it's not, you know, what they say is courage is not being scared, but doing it even despite you're scared, and language is a topic. It is, and I understand. For example, I always have to work harder than my American friends or my friends who grew up here, whose first language is English, and very often their only language to speak. And I have to work harder. I just have to work harder until my tongue is able to say these words and with that speed. And you know, from my mom. My mom is just such a strong woman. She basically single mother, raised 2 kids as an immigrant in Austria. She was 30 or something when we left Iran, and I remember there's one thing that my mom used to say, and it really makes me emotional thinking about that. Is my Iranian name is Ali, and so my mom calls me Ali in my family, and she said, Ali, you know, whatever you do, it doesn't matter. But whatever you do, even if you want to be a street cleaner, make sure you're the best street cleaner in the world. And that really is just part of my nature. I really try, whatever I do, I just try to do it with everything I have, you know?
It's so beautiful because it shows the pride, but also the humble nature of your mom.
Yeah.
It's wonderful.
You came back.
You know, if I could stay right here with you, I would.
Just sometimes I feel like the world out there is calling me.
You're one of them, aren't you? You're not real.
I think there may be something wrong with this world. Are we very old friends?
No, I wouldn't say friends, Dolores. I wouldn't say that at all.
And what's your favorite experience? And favorite show or movie?
I like most of the things I did. I had opportunities to work in German, for example. I just worked on just a few months ago on a show called Westworld on HBO, and you know, I got to work in German.
How was that experience?
It was wonderful. It was just one. I mean, they did cut a big part of our scene, but that's okay. We open up the season, and it's good, and it's in German. And I got to work with Thomas Kretschmann, who is one of the biggest German actors, and that was a great experience. And otherwise, I worked on so many other wonderful shows. I got to work on Lucifer, work with an Iranian director. That was great.
So you mentioned all these wonderful shows, let's talk about the Turkish Pete from Lucifer.
Yeah.
How was that experience? How did you work on that character and everything?
People like to tell me things, those deep, dark, naughty little desires that are on their mind.
And you're not marrying this human stain because you're actually in love with him, right?
Oh, God, no.
No.
Oh, my. I can't believe I just said that.
Must be something about his face.
Hey, boss.
Remember me?
What's your name?
Lucifer.
Like an apple.
Exactly.
That was great. I mean, working on Lucifer was amazing. Working with this, you know, working with Tom and Lauren, who are the 2 leads, was amazing. And the funny thing is about Turkish Pete, he wasn't Turkish. and they talk about in that episode, say, yeah, Turkish Pete, who is not Turkish. I don't know why they call him that way, but you know, I didn't have to work too much on him. I just, as we discussed before, I have Turkish blood, and I'm very familiar with the cultures. I guess I just did me, and used what was on the script. So
nice. Did they feed you good Turkish food?
They didn't. They didn't. Unfortunately, not.
So what's next for you? What are you working at the moment?
So what's next for me? I wish I had this glass ball. And I would look at it. Oh, this is what's going to happen next.
But you mentioned producing something.
Yes. So I've been working for almost a year on a script, on a pilot for a TV show that I'm working on. It's a half-hour single cam, it's a comedy. And I'm really excited about that. So one of my goals is to have it this year ready and available to start pitching it. And I have a few TV shows coming out. I think I mentioned that. And I audition a lot. I audition a lot for all kinds of TV shows and movies. And I also have an agent in England. So I get auditions through London. And one of my goals this year is to get a German-speaking agent, preferably in Germany, in Berlin. It's, you know, again, it's my first language, and I haven't really utilized that. There's a whole market that's available for me. So that's one of my goals. And I'm really passionate about singing, so I'm really working on my skills as an opera singer. I think that's something that I would love to do in the future. And so yeah.
Yeah, life is good.
Life is good. You know, I just gotta focus on creating. That's the thing. Like, because when you focus on an outside result, I had this mentor who once said to me, "You're not in a result industry. Like, your job is not."
Nobody is.
Yeah, exactly. We're just not. You are in the creating industry. So just keep creating every day. Do something, and if you keep doing good work, and you are a nice human being, eventually people will pay attention, and eventually people will see your talent, and eventually people will give you a chance and wanting to spend time with you and work with you. And so I'm working really hard in creating and being the best human being I can be every day.
Yeah, it's interesting because in my mind, when you were talking about it, I'm going back to what your mom advised you on, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. How do you balance out being result-oriented, but at the same time not being in the result industry, being in the process?
Yeah.
You know, so that is the beautiful balance. And I think that's another secret ingredient.
Yeah, well, making an effort, always go back to why do I do what I do? What is it? Like, why do I do what I do? Like, I try to always go back to the joy. I always try to go back to, you know, the difference I can make. And I believe, not to get too woo-woo and spiritual, but I believe, you know, the talents that we have, like I talk about the talents that I have, they don't belong to me. My talents belong to you and to her and him and whoever is, everyone on this planet.
To humanity.
To humanity. And we all have kind of a responsibility to these talents that we were gifted with, to nurture them and then add them to the stream of life, to just give back on some level. And I think that is always, when I go back to that place, it takes me out of, oh, I didn't get this job. Oh, I didn't get that. Oh, me. Because it's easy to go to back, you know? Like, it's easy to feel as a victim. There's this joke that victimese is the most spoken language on this planet, you know? It's so easy.
True. Yeah.
But we have to make an effort to go back to the light. And what helps me with that are routines, you know? Just healthy routines that start every day in the morning when I wake up. And I carry them through the day until I go to bed, you know?
Well, Alain, this was actually incredibly inspiring.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming here.
Thank you.
And I wish you amazing success because you do deserve it. And please send my love to your mother.
Oh, I will. Thank you.
Thank you. Today, our guest was Alain Washnevsky. Thank you for watching The World of Cinema. See you next week on TRT2.